Welcome everybody to the 2006 offseason. Here we are in the free agency stage. Today's video will be on the quarterback changes. Starting off, we have Carrie Collins signing with the Oakland Raiders, leaving the Cleveland Browns after only 2 seasons. Collins was a strong passer for the Browns. He had good stats. He was one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the 2004-2005 season. But he failed to win games, and Cleveland decided that they wanted to pursue the young rookie Charlie Fry from Akron to take on the starting role. He played the last 3 games and will likely be the starter heading into the 2005-2006 season. Now, Oakland, they are moving on from Chad Pennington, having the second worst record in the league. New head coaching changes. New coaches are in Oakland, and we can see that Carrie Collins will be that bridge quarterback in California. John Kitna signs with the Denver Broncos to back up Derek Anderson. Then we have Patrick Ramsey, who has had a difficult first 4 years in his rookie campaign. He was injured his first year. This past season, he was battling with Jeff Garcia for the starting role in Washington. Garcia started the first part of the season, and Ramsey started the second half, and it just was not working out. And Jack Del Rio decided to get rid of all the quarterbacks on the roster and start fresh. Ramsey could have went to a team to maybe challenge for the starting role, but instead gets the safe job as the backup for Eli Manning, as the Chiefs were the number 1 team in the AFC West. As we see Jeff Garcia also leaving Washington to pursue the Dallas Cowboys, a likely starter there. A team that was having the 4th overall pick, definitely needing some help at quarterback after their debacle. Matt Hasselbeck decides to join the Detroit Lions after having the worst record in the league with Seattle. He was benched for David Green later on in the season, but he gets another chance here in Detroit. Joey Harrington leaving Detroit and going to the Carolina Panthers. Head coach Chris Palmer was brought into Detroit because of the great work he did with David Carr and the Houston Texans as the offensive coordinator, helping them win the Super Bowl. And they thought he could do the same thing for Joey Harrington in Detroit. Unfortunately, Joey Harrington is not a bad quarterback, but he has not done anything to really elevate the Detroit Lions, and he was not warranted a big contract. So they decided to let him go to free agency. And in doing so, he is picked up by the Carolina Panthers, where he will battle for the starting role against Jake Delhomme, who has been a decent quarterback, but again, he has good moments, bad moments. Harrington will be some competition. Kyle Orton, with a difficult rookie year in Dallas, signs with the St. Louis Rams as a backup. Byron Leftwich also leaves Dallas after another difficult QB campaign, and he is going to be the backup in Pittsburgh behind Ben Roethlisberger. Dallas not having much luck with quarterbacks, and a head coaching changes that. David Gerrard is now headed off from Jacksonville to the Seattle Seahawks. The Jaguars quarterback was doing well individually, but was unable to truly win games. Kevin Jobride has become the coach the past 2-3 seasons and is likely wanting more of a Drew Bledsoe type quarterback. And David Gerrard has done well, but was not doing what it needed to get them to the playoffs. But Seattle, on the other hand, both having the worst record in the league, decides to take a chance on David Gerrard. They have the number 1 overall pick in this year's draft. Vince Young could be the pick. They could go with Matt Leinart. They could also decide to take the best player available, Mario Williams, and decide to draft a quarterback like Tavares Jackson, Kellen Clemens, Reggie McNeil, or someone maybe later. But we see Seattle trying to get that bridge quarterback or that veteran presence in the locker room, and here they sign David Gerrard, who has been a solid quarterback despite being picked in the 4th round 4 years ago. But we'll see more about Seattle's work because, again, they have a lot to rebuild on. Mike Holmgren is still the head coach there. He was not let go. He was the head coach of the year 2 years ago when Seattle had the best record in the NFC, and not too long ago did that change. Now we see Brian Grease. He was with Denver and replaced by Derek Anderson. He is headed off to Houston to maybe compete for that starting job. Back on Jacksonville, they do get their quarterback to replace David Gerrard, which is Chad Pennington. Pennington had an awful season with the Oakland Raiders after being traded to them from the Jets back in the last offseason. But a head coaching change in Oakland changes up the entire expectation of what that team was looking for. So Oakland ended up going with Carrie Collins, the veteran, and Chad Pennington, the veteran, just did not perform well enough, but is now looked at as a desirable option in Jacksonville to then help lead the Jaguars to maybe lead in that division against the Colts and the Titans. But it's a big mountain to climb there in Jacksonville. We will see if Chad Pennington can do it. He was not able to truly elevate the Oakland Raiders. Who knows if a rookie might be drafted to replace Pennington, but Pennington tends to be that likely bridge quarterback, whether it's just for 1 year or maybe a couple years as Jacksonville figures out what their plan is. Then we have lastly David Green, who was the starting quarterback for the Seahawks after Matt Hasselbeck was benched. He actually had a decent campaign. He wasn't dynamic, but he also wasn't winning. A mediocre quarterback gets his chance with the Washington team here, where all of the quarterbacks on Washington were gotten rid of. And so David Green has the opportunity here to fight for a starting job in a different team. Maybe he'll have a better chance in Washington. Now, a few other quarterbacks that were signed that we don't have clips for is Josh Harris going to the Cleveland Browns, Luke McCown from the Rams going to Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then Chris Redman going to the Washington Redskins as to fight for that QB battle. Well, thank you for watching. We have more free agency coming up, but this was the wrap-up of the quarterbacks.